Alright, just came in from outside. We're going to open an existing file. And we were in Desktop Sharp Dice Box. So we're going to load up that master file. And we were working with the names parts of these. Now we're getting ready to go into this part of it right here. So I'm going to double click on that one, zoom in, rolling the mouse button. Always set your T-slot height off the top of the material. That's a little reminder to me to double check that. And there's my tool path. We're going to look at the tool path, see what we have. We'll pin that up in the corner and then look at our tool path. And that's the T-slot. That's right there. And that is let's see if we can get it to show up here. And that's a 1/8 inch end mill. So that's a pre-cut. This one here is the outside cut, 1/8 inch end mill. C is 1/8 inch end mill, and then the profile jig right there is 1/8 inch end mill. So one of these I'm using as the T-slot groove, that's the one that'll cut that in, and then the other one is this little pocket for that, and then the next one is the cut outside, and that would be a 1/8 inch end mill. So these two right here can cut, and then the T-slot groove will go in there and cut that out, and then the third cut is profile, and it will go in there and cut out the block. So that's not the right one. Profile jig. There we go. And then the laser cut. That's just to give us an idea of what we're doing with it. Okay. So really the only three I really need are these three right here for cutting it. And let me go ahead and compile that. And while we're in here, we're going to look at the laser cut and just go ahead and modify that from the 3.8, make it 20 watt, and apply it. Click select. So if I load this thing up again, it's going to be pretty well set. And we're just etching that. So we'll click 20 in there, click calculate, and click close. If you don't calculate, it doesn't save your toolpath. So all right, so we got that down there. So let's go back up here to the T-slot, and we're going to compile that with a 1/8 inch cutter. And if you'll notice, the speed on this is quite a bit less on the. Let's go here and look at this. The speed on here is like 80 inches a minute, plunge rate 10. Click close. We're going to go look at the other side of this, and let's look at a normal one and look at the toolpath on that one, and that about the same speed. So what I generally do is I slow that down off the pendant and go back there with that. Slow that down because it is cutting that T-slot all in one setup. So okay, all right. So let's go ahead and close that, and we're going to recompile this, and we'll save that toolpath and do that one there. We're going to save that toolpath, select the toolpath, the arcs, and we'll click save. And we're going to go down here to the dice, and this is the top lid. So we're going to make a new folder. We're going to call this top lid and put the file in there, and this will be the top slot in there. So that will be in there. Click that for the T-slot. Click save. Uncheck that one. Go these two. These two I can cut at the same time, just as long as they're, just as long as they're in that order, because I wouldn't want to cut that thing out until it was after it was done there. So, and these two, this one will go all the way through, and the other one will go just into a pocket. So we'll look at that, click on the two deal, that's the right one there, click save toolpath, and we'll go over here to the top slide, and we'll just call that B. Backspace over that one, and B pocket, so there only will be the two toolpaths in that folder. So we'll click file save, and then file save as, because it saved it up on the desktop. And we'll go down here to the dies folder and save it in there. And you said, well, right. So we got it backed up. We'll close that down, head out to the shop. All right, a couple of minutes later, we've got back to our surface board that I can carve into. There's my 1/4 inch carve it into. I'm going to turn this jig around right here that I just pulled out of there. And as you can see, there's no damage to it other than I'm just going to rotate it and put this one back in there. And we're going to put that in right there and put it in flush with the 4 corners of this, and then pin nail it down. All I really need to do is nail this part down in that corner, because the rest of it isn't pertinent to this. So let me get that done and get back to you. All right, rejig, move that around, put some anchors around the area that I'm working, the pin nails. Put my piece in there, centered it on my jig, got it towards centered, and then I put my little extra shim boards up there to keep my pressure down on my piece, keeps it held in place. And then these pieces here and this piece right here, the template, which is very much similar to that piece right there. So I've got 6 pieces of wood, really 5 pieces of wood holding it down and anchored, and then these have screws, 1.5 inch screws down in there, so shouldn't go anywhere. I've got to put a couple straight slots in it, and then I've got to slot it, and I have to cut it out. So we'll go in and look at the toolpath and see where we're at on that. Alright, I've changed a few little things on this. Number one is this is needs to be held down, so I need to put a deal in here to hold this down. So let me get that done. Alright, I got a little tight on my brass washer, thinking this is brass. Put it all brass in there. Anyway, checking my cut, make sure that it's going to be fine. Toggle all my toggles out of the way and look at it, see where I'm at on my thickness on it, and see where I'm at. I'll pry that up and see what's going on here. Make sure it's all good. Well, there I was. I just shot an $8 or $10 bit, just a keyhole slot bit, nothing fancy. When I was going on my safe Z over the top of that, I missed it by 1/4 inch. I need to set my safe Z to about 3/4 of an inch so that I missed my clamps. Darn it. I'm gonna go back to it. All right, I had to go back in here and change a couple things on this top panel, this outside box type 6, or the top section. I had to change my material setup to 0.4, and I did that right here because I was running into my clamps. And I put a clamp right here, which was a mistake. That ended up costing me basically 2 broken bits, and I was a little frustrated at myself for doing that. I ended up putting the stoppers for here to make it, just by adding 2 boards in here, and then I just cut through the pieces of plywood. And I could probably change this vector so that it doesn't cut, but I also resized the outside of this box to fit the exact size of the material, so that when I put my sheet in, the very corner of it was my Z, and otherwise I had the sheet bigger than the box, and so that was causing me some problems with that, and so I fixed that. But anyway, I did slow down my tool pass considerably. All these tool pass, cutting these T-slots, they were way slower than what I was normally run them, and like the feed rate, it's at 20 and 10, and so slowing that down a bunch, this is about right where I set it at. Normally I'm running 80 on the feed rate, and so anyway, but that's the settings, and I just want to let you know that I did go back and set that. And the main reminder is not to put anything right here in the middle, because it does do this, as far as the cutout goes. And so there you go. And okay, this is take 2. We're going to take the old T-slot and run her down through there again, see how we got everything set up, and hopefully this will do the trick. And we shall see here. Everything's buttoned down and ready to run it. I've got my height all set.
and we'll click.
All right, I'm running this T-hole slot cutter, and I just put this one in. I broke the other bit, of course, and going down through there. So it's going through this slot at the normal speed. I put the speed down there to 60%, so I'm really running it slow just to see where I'm at. I just got through putting that laser cord adapter on there, so it's flopping around. I need to get that attached to where it's not hanging down in my face, but I just put that on last night. Anyway, uh, the cord is there so that I don't wear my adapter out. But anyway, back to this, the T-slot cutter is going down through there, and I've got it going really slow, 60% of speed, and it's still supposed to be at 20%. So the 20% is about the right speed for normal, as I found out a little bit later on. And it's going through there, and of course I've got my height right where it's ignoring uh, that cutter. I ended up moving, of course, this toggle in the middle and changing it, so this isn't quite right the way I have it, but it does work. But anyway, I was taking my sweet time getting that to run, and you'll see a little bit later on the video it runs a lot faster. Right, got this new setting set up, and going with 100% speed, so you can kind of get an idea how fast it's moving through there. Didn't necessarily need to do that. Like again, this is making one whole cut with that T-slot cutter, and it's having to go through that whole board. So definitely want it to go a little bit slower. Could probably push it a little faster than this, but that's fast enough. So I'm gonna let that get down there. You can look on my thing. I've got it set at 100% speed. It's moving over. Go on the other side. I think it did this whole cut in about a minute's time. So it's doing a good job cutting that out. So
Yeah, they dry out, so I'll just run my drill down through there and clean them out. So now we're good to go again. Just wipe the drill bit off, get the glue off of it. She's ready to go. All right, this little deal right there needs a little dab of that stuff to put that back in there or it'll be lost forever. So let me get that glued, put a little clamp on it. All right, put that over there on the curing table. And we'll come up here and put this last one in. And of course it just fits down in there. Nice thing about CNC stuff is it's almost all exactly alike. I mean, you know, unless you got a bunch of boogers on it. But anyway, so it's ready to go, and you run it down in your slot, tell it to do its thing, and away she goes. All right, a minute and 12 seconds later, that's cut, and I'm ready to put the end mill back in it and cut the slots all the way through and cut the pocket. We'll cut the pocket first and then the slots in. So let's get that done. These 4, 6, 5 parts are over here working together. Let's flip them over real quick, because that's the side that gets put down. And after you've done this a while, you realize that, man, it's important. You can put notes on your jigs. Is put the face down. And down there, and there, of course, I've covered it up. Just put the face down. I need to also remember to check my Z height on that center support, because I generally don't cross over it, but that one I do, and that messes it up. So anyway, I'm pretty pleased with how this is. I adjusted them up, started adjusting them a little deeper, trying to get them as much centered in the board as I could possibly get them, and that edge there. And let me go ahead and start milling the rest of it and get the other end mill loaded up and cut it out and do the pockets. All right, I snapped a bit because I went across there and hit the very edge of my brass washer, which 1/8 inch bit extended way down. Yeah, I popped it. And all right, I had to regroup my cutting because it went through here and cut this out, so I needed to support my corners, keep this from shifting. So let's give this a try and see how she's going now. All right, to make those, just cut up a bunch of, took a piece of that 1/2 inch that was glitched out. Over there for scraps is about 3 inches wide, and I surfaced it down to about just about 3/8 of an inch, not quite 3/8 on there, and that was just the easiest tool to hook up. It's not really a surfacer, but it will work in a pinch. And then I just ripped them on the table saw. Used the finger board and the zero clearance and the false, just a scrap fence to get away from my good face that I like to keep planed and smooth so I don't get any kickbacks. Anyway, so there was the process. I just need to cut them to length All right, I've got the puzzle box slides set in place, and I'll basically glue them into the middle panel. And then when I glue the box on the outside, it reinforces with the other boxes, and those all get glued. So that strengthens it, and then the pins, the slides slide in. So been cool if I'd have made some walnut ones, so they would have contrasted even more. But yeah, they're good enough. So there we go, and that's the top lid. All I've got to do now is sand and assemble. So hopefully everything's good. I had measured this one with my other one part that I had over there, and then I just adjusted it. I had a problem with a couple broken bits. My own faults. Always at my own fault. Anyway, so yeah, I broke 2 bits, and one of them was well, of course, the C-slot cutter, and where I hit one of my brass steel, which it's not. It's like a $10 bit, $10 bit, so it's not that expensive a bit. The end mills are like $20, so I don't like breaking them. But and that was one of the long ones, so I do need to buy a couple new ones. I need to give old Garrett Fromey from IDC call and tell him to give me some 1-inch end mills. So this one's an 1/8 inch all the way down. So I don't want that. I want the 1/4 inch base at the bottom with a 1 inch. So there we go. So there we go. There we go. There we go.